common anymore.
And Gen.G picks the map once again, and it's going to be Inferno Shrines game number 3, maybe the final map. As we see the wins just stamped on the BOE, stamped on the Volskaya, with Gen.G logo.
Well, Gen.G may run out of ink if the season continues to go this way. They're gonna probably have to buy some new ink pads with the prize money. They're gonna keep stamping their way to victory, undefeated in Part 2, coming in mid-season Brawl champions, dominant drafting here. BlossoM chooses first pick, but does not have the insta-lock here. Perhaps mentally defeated already. Sometimes it could be misleading to see a team with smiles on their faces like this, because in one way it means they're not taking the match too seriously, but it also means that you're trying to laugh about it because inside you're trying to put on a smile to your teammates because you know
you're dying
this series is over, right?
Yes.
Like, as BlossoM, you look at the series, you're like, unwinnable. There is no bouncing back.
Bensonia?
We didn't prepare well enough for this.
Tracer, okay.
So how do you stay composed? Do you keep your teammates active? Look at the face of Tist right now. That's the face of a stone cold killer who does not care whether BlossoM drafts Malfurion first. He's like, we have a plan for everything.
Yeah, they have the heroes to counter it. First pick Jaina.
Jaina,
and
Sonya.
That's
Great
what.
for the map.
That's why I was hinting first man, maybe even Sonya. Of course, Tracer was a very difficult hero to deal with in game 2. But on this map, they always pick Sonya. And Kyocha's Sonya pokes, spears, and destroys. It melts everyone, even Diablo, Blaze. They cannot sustain the damage.
Notice how Kyocha plays Sonya too. He spears, whirlwinds the spear target and anyone else nearby, and decides whether to go forward or backwards based on what happens in the first like half of a second. If it looks like the fight can be turned and he can continue moving forward, or he can peel, he moves forward, otherwise he moves backwards, eats heals, and gets ready for his next spear. It's a systematic way to play Sonya in team fights, and he also will play... He's one of the safest Sonyas, along with Jungha, in the league in terms of the solo lane. The draft is good for BlossoM this time. There were insta-locks on the Diablo. Blaze was a great counter response to the Sonya. Great solo Shriner is Diablo, is great for the map, and Blaze counters the Jaina. Softly, but still. It's a great way to deal with that burst damage. For the first time, Gen.G has to stop and think about their next step here, as they haven't been given free food in this one. With the Junkrat ban, an old school style. It's commonly the secondary DPS on this battleground, so a safe ban here.
Yeah, kind of like Sergeant Hammer, I guess. Just poking away from a far range. Can actually hurt Jaina somewhat in the back line because you will be lacking in terms of the distance of the range, how much damage you can actually provide within the shrine. And you don't want to take damage against Diablo. Diablo does tons of damage against for Jaina. It could be somewhat troubling for him. So bans the Junkrat, which is not too common, of course, after the MSB.
Pause here for BlossoM. Support's considered. And also, you have to consider that Hanzo pick that could make its way through here. It's a great map for it, compared to some of the other maps, you know, where he's a lot less viable, right? This is not his best map, but it's a great map to complement the Jaina DPS. One of Rich's best. They take the Falstad. This is a mistake.
I think this hints that they want to take Maiev once again.
Remember that there is no... Rich is not the Jaina player. So, and he's also not the Falstad player. So, if you ban Falstad here, it means you're not thinking about who's playing what. It means you're not thinking about players individually. You're just thinking about concepts. Like, you're thinking conceptually. And we have seen some auto damage DPS players already play mages today, including Dudu from earlier, but that's a weird ban.
So that's stolen away before they take their own hands. Just look at that. They are caught and playing what they wanted to do. Now that's in the other player's hand. Come on, you gotta have plan B. What was your plan B? You have to show us in the draft, and this will be the final one.
Remember the Maiev draft we saw on Battlefield of Eternity from BlossoM? This is how you build that draft. This is a draft that builds into that, where you don't pick it as a desperation move. you pick it as the final building blocks, as the cherry on top. They still have their support left to be revealed. Guess who's left up that cannot be removed, who's perfect for this? His name is Stukov. The 5th pick could just simply be a Stukov to round it out. You have the silence inside, you have the burst, you have Sonya sustain with the whirlwind in there, plus Stukov's burst heal in the longer fight. How do you lose that on the shrine? Alexstrasza works here too, but you've got options. BlossoM time's ticking down. You got to pick some DPSs here. You got to protect him.
Okay, it was going to be maybe Medivh Maiev, or even Sonya if they got their hands on it, along with Diablo, which worked well in phase 1. And actually, Gen.G lost against Medivh Diablo Sonya combo once, and Gen.G finally picking that Alexstrasza up in shrines.
With the Medivh pick, I would have liked the Stukov much more because he can simply deny portals with the silence. You come out of the portal, you're silenced. Works well with the Warden's Cage, but the Alexstrasza works well here too. And, you know, we saw the goofy smile on Sake's face. I think he wanted to play it. We didn't see much Alexstrasza out of the Korean teams in mid-season brawl. It was mostly from China and North America. June, of course, while technically Korean, plays for North America. He was the big Alexstrasza player, the most successful in mid-season brawl.
Also defeated Listix in a tiebreaker as well.
That's right.
In Inferno Shrine with Alexstrasza, so that was quite a game to watch.
Yeah. Very much a meta pick for this map. I just feel like versus the Maiev, there's arguments to be made for the Stukov.
We do see the chin from
versus the Medivh. Yeah.
We do see the chin from Malfurion covered a little bit, but I can kind of say that, right?
No, I think his chin is pretty visible. Like, I was looking at it earlier. Only one non-support's chin was visible earlier. This time it's Jaina is the only chin out there.
Well, her eyes are cut.
Yeah, but her chin is clearly visible. The very bottom of it, not so much, but like I think we could say, if we could say Alexstrasza's chin is showing, we could say that Jaina's chin is showing.
I do agree. Do have to agree. Yeah,
so I just want to, you know, to further the conversation we had in the first series, which if you guys missed, you're probably confused. A lot of chins are cut off in the top portraits. Alexstrasza was special in that way at first, but we found that Malfurion's chin, minus his beard, is mostly showing. And now Jaina as well, another chin in the portrait. And you pause, during this pause you can take a closer look. Blaze's chin completely covered by his Firebat armor. Medivh just cut off there. Now, temporarily, Alexstrasza's chin was cut off by the pause screen, but when you unpause, you'll see it's clearly visible in her scrunch portrait, which still isn't fixed yet for some reason. I would have to imagine that Kel'Thuzad is still similarly scrunched as well.
It's still the same, and I was maybe expecting a Decker Cane from Gen.G before we saw the Alexstrasza pick for the final pick.
It's a strong pick, you know. I like it with, yeah, you know, thinking about it, it does pair well. You don't have any resets, but you have bursts that can work well with it.
And you have lots of CCs to pair along with the roots as well in that small, shrine zone.
I'm just a little bit, to me, I'm a little bit hung up on the hammer pick because you're going to be really hard pressed to get in a position to do damage on the shrines against an Alexstrasza Jaina comp that has dive potential with the Sonya, with the hammer to win the battle of like destroying the defenders, right? So it looks like BlossoM has some lag problems.
With Modern's just having his mouse issues right now with some of the laggy moments. He's just testing it, as you can see.
Yeah.
I think it may be just kind of a role, not role exactly, a hero pulls problem for Gondar and Modern. They're trying to flip around, and when Junkrat was banned, they were kind of lost to what to do. Which hero do I actually pick? Can I actually pick? And that will work with the team on this battleground. And I guess Sergeant Hammer did not really work, but that is like the only one that I can play, so might as well just choose it.
Yeah.
Seems like that is the most likely conclusion.
Yeah, you know, when you put it that way, I kind of feel you, because when you think about Modern Life's other flex heroes, it's mostly like secondary supports throughout the beginning of the year.
Some Falstad.
Yeah.
Some
Falstad, the occasional Tastar,
some
Vala once or twice. I mean, if you look at his hero pool,
it's gigantic.
He has played
hero ocean.
He has played 41 heroes in the past. He has a hero pool of 41. This year alone, 21. That includes Sergeant Hammer, so he's probably still at 21. So he has a large hero pool, but he's not normally known for having great success with the carry heroes. In fact, his highest win rate hero is Maiev. Second highest is Greymane at 50%. Or highest picked, excuse me, I should say, is Greymane with 50% win rate. So, and that's highest picked of Maiev at 5, Greymane at 4. So that's already telling you. I was just gonna go ahead and pause again. That's already telling you kind of what the hero pool looks like here. And yet again, Malfurion's gonna be played by Merryday. This draft, when you take the hammer away, it's a solid draft, right? We saw so much synergy with the Diablo Medivh before Mid-Season Brawl, after the Medivh rework. You have the ability to use Leyline into APOC, which I think would be quite strong here on this battleground. Lightning Breath, it's the best battleground for that, so it's not a bad draft. It's just the hammers where I have to be like, well, what about just a Greymane instead, or what about something else? You know, what about just a safer DPS?
Maybe just with the BFG, you're trying to line up the damage, possibly, which could work, but you will need a lot more damaging source, not just... Because you do have Diablo, who is also going to be doing damage, but Medivh, not likely, unless you have Rich playing Medivh, somehow he magically just provides that number with a Medivh. And anyhow, just finishing that Master's Touch within the first few minutes. He's so aggressive, he's not like a player who's just going to be a secondary support as a Medivh. He actually goes in offensive form. But he is like the only player from Korea that does that.
Yeah. You could have seen the Hanzo, right? Arrow comes through, Lightning Breath, you blow somebody up. Because the Alex Strasza, comes in as the last pick. It could have been the Stukov, right? So they're considering no... I mean, I think it's either the Alex Strasza or the Stukov, right? Those are the two main choices here.
Yes.
So you're thinking they don't have any burst heals. Uther was available, but like, as we already saw, Jaina Uther's not really a thing. It works well with the Sonya, so but you're looking saying they're not going to have burst heals in the meta heroes that they can pick as healers. So you pick the Hammer... and you have BFG, and I think you're exactly right. Just looking for that burst. There's not a lot of other burst heroes left in the pool. Hanzo can stun, but doesn't do a ton of damage, and you're hoping to get a Lightning Breath kill there. Tychus again missing some burst. Li Ming's burst not quite enough to get a kill, so Alex Strasza's healing or Stukov's healing eventually goes through. When you have the Soul Laner also being a tank with the Sonya, you're really struggling to get the Li Ming shots on. It's one of her worst battlegrounds because the defenders also block the shots.
Yes.
So when you look at it a little bit closer, if you dissect it, there's ways to see where the BFG pick for burst damage would make sense. I think that with the Medivh, they need to really force their way onto the point. They need to have control of the shrine first, start the fight first, or they're just never going to win an objective.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough as Maiev will be just diving in and even grabbing Sergeant Hammer sometimes. And once he can't really escape from the tether, I mean... the support can actually provide only a little bit with the Nature's Cure, Ultimate Malfurion, and Merryday. You can count on him, but even that was not enough, and as you saw from Game 1 and Game 2, he did have some nice pre-cleanse even, from like the Hanzo Zeros, some CCs that were available, just insta-cleanse. So you could kind of see Merryday, he was just on a pretty good shape for now, but their real problem was the team comp, and the moment they put out the DPS was just not enough. They needed more damage. They were not really trading kills as well. The focusing was not right, and that actually came it all started from the draft. And so far in Game 3, we are feeling exactly the same thing what we felt in Game 1 and 2 as we go in, and we say, oh, this is not the best draft.
I look at an amazing draft on one side, and I look at a decent draft on the other. In this third game, at least we see the decent draft this time. The previous two, I look poor draft, experimental draft, right? And this time I feel like I can say the draft of BlossoM is not a bad draft. It has synergy. We've seen similar compositions to this work with great success in the past. So it's not a bad draft. It is a draft that absolutely can work under certain conditions. The Diablo Medivh synergy has to be high. It was high in the past with Gondar on the Diablo. Not going to be the case this time. You have to imagine he will be on the Medivh. which will be a little bit weird. If they roll swap here, I'm not even mad about it, given that this flip-flop is actually a little bit stronger.
But I do have a very strong feeling that we are going to have the roll swap back to having Gondar into tank, and then just Hong Kong going to DPS. I think they're going to have a lot less drafting problems if that happens, because Hong Kong did play lots of DPS like Gen.G, even Hanzo, and I think he was also playing Tracer back in Tempest long time ago sometimes, and Gondar just a sustained tank. He was always the tank. So why not just switch back? I think that's going to come very soon if this keeps on happening.
There has always been this trend I've noticed where whatever Hong Kong team is on, there's a lot of role swapping
and then
around
they
him.
fail, and then Hong Kong goes out, and then the team
does better. Not always.
Is this
not
science?
In the case of Miracle, but
this is science. Hong Kong science. It's been proven.
He
by
has
multiple teams.
He has certainly,
except for Miracle.
Yeah, he has certainly gone into some teams, switched roles 3 or 4 times, and subsequently not been on the team anymore. Gone to another team, retired, returned to a team after retirement.
So we're having some updates.
So yeah, we're gonna just well, you can tell.
So we're gonna remake the room because it seems like he has pulled his stuff up and it doesn't really work together. So he actually restarted the client, and then we're just gonna remake the room because it's been some time. And it's going to take, which basically means you're going to see our faces for the next few minutes.
Yeah. So.
And we will just stare at it.
The way that tournament play is done is when you remake the game, you actually have to go through the ban pick again on the tournament realm. As far as I understand, you can't just like make a 5v5 custom game and everyone lock in the same heroes, because that's not how the tournament realm works, as far as I understand. So they have to go back through the pick ban phase in the exact same order. So everyone's doing it slowly to make sure that it's like technically correct. Lock in all the same heroes, but they can insta lock if they have it written down or they can remember. I mean, I have it written down. I can go show them like, oh, it's right here. Like, but
they can't read it though. Like your handwriting is pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. I think it was Jayhow who messaged me. He's like, "You have the draft from this game." I sent a picture of him. So I sent a picture of the draft to him that I wrote down. He's like,
"Thanks and no."
He's like, "I asked you if you had do you have the draft from this game?" Yeah. I mean, I can read it. That's all that matters. It's my secret code.
I can kind of read it, and that's pretty bad. I mean, like, all my math teachers used to have super bad handwriting because they're oftentimes from other countries, and that is always a common thing for math teachers. They can only write numbers and not spellings so much. So when it comes to the end of the semester, you're kind of used to the handwriting of a professor, and then you move on to another professor. That happens all the time, kind of like your handwriting right here.
At least you haven't seen me write on a board yet. I cannot write on a whiteboard.
You don't need to. Like, please bring a laptop like me and type it.
Oh boy, so we do
have a new game.
Yeah.
And it's been remade.
I mean, nothing happened in the beginning of that game, so it's actually fine. For a second, I was like, oh boy, like we missed the whole early game. We just replayed. No. We were like, literally the pause happened when they were in spawn, so it's actually fine. The same talent picks were locked in and everything like that.
Thank you. We're game 3. Could be the last game though.
Yeah, well, let's see what Modern Life can pull off on this hero. It will be, as mentioned again, Gondar on the Medivh.
Rich on that Maiev. Let's see it maybe too many times from Mid-Season Brawl. And his damage output was crazy. And of course reset, and back to the draft was maybe some people just not knowing the history too much because they banned Falstad, and you said that was just a misban because reset was basically, unless Sake is also a possibility, but more percent for reset, of course.
Yeah, of course. Like
and they were snapping onto reset's hero, which was already chosen as Jaina. So yeah. That's why you were saying that was a mistake that was a ban.
So just to put this into perspective, that was a really nice use of Force of Will to prevent the Jaina damage, by the way. So this Sergeant Hammer is actually getting early game value. Rich plays melee DPS, not solo laner, but melee DPS like Maiev, and he plays auto attackers. He does not play mages. He would if he had to, and he has played Junkrat, which is like feels like, you know, the closest thing mages ever played. Like, it's not really a mage. I mean, he played Medivh when he was a solo laner when Medivh was a solo laner.
He did play Lucio once, but
Yeah.
That was only an event match.
I mean, you and I are just really putting like asterisks at the bottom of the list, but he does not play. He will never play Falstad. He has never played Falstad that I can remember. So it is just you know, it's one of those bands where you're like, okay, I see conceptually where you're going, but you haven't really thought this through. Then again, they haven't watched and cast every single game that's ever happened of Gen.G like I have, so.
And because of the late wave onto the bottom, Honkono came late to the control of the camp. It was already late of a time for Gen.G. I mean, for BlossoM to actually contest because they were also losing wave on top, so their rotation was slower. Just understanding that at that moment, shot calling from Gen.G. Look at that speed.
Yeah, very quick. Portal here for Gondar just to try to get another Master's touch stack and then get out. Fails to grab it, but positional advantage to BlossoM is what they needed. They looked like they were going to go for it, but they actually rotated up late. They just completely missed the rotation because Wiz was not in position. Honkono was not in position to see that rotation down. They tried to intercept, but they missed.
They do have the control though.
They are starting to, but they don't quite have it yet.
Not a bad position on themselves as Medivh is just looking for the chance.
Modern Life
does goes it.
Yeah, Modern Life doing a lot of damage, but he's getting collapsed on now. Condemn comes through.
The Dragon Queen is there, so might as well back out a little bit because you're going to lose in numbers.
Yeah, if you let Alex Strasser take control of the shrine first, and they get up to say 15 to 20, you lose the shrine almost every time at this level of play, because she's just going to Dragon Queen and clear the shrine. She's already great at controlling that zone, but you give her any further opportunities and it just gets worse. Pull here onto Gondar, he's the target. He has to use Portal, which means he can't protect Honkono. Surgical approach here by Gen.G. They force the heroes away. This allows the Punisher to do maximum damage. This is going to be a fort on first Punisher, a very rare occurrence in professional play. Through the wall. They didn't even get both cannon towers.
Oh, look at this on top. Because that Medivh is always flying around for socket to gain damage and maybe a kill. This gets a kill. And Portal's out. Nicely done by BlossoM there.
Yeah, really well played. It feels like a nice consolation prize, but it's not the victory they wanted.
I think Sake was trying to bait that out and actually trying to turn that around because he had more than enough time to actually go home. They were trying to bait that out with all the damage they had. A mistake.
Well, as we watch this next phase of the game unfold, BlossoM can be happy that they at least got that kill. They got the bot camp. Gonna get an extra wave bottom as well. Looks like it's Gen.G is gonna have a later rotation down. But Gen.G did get the Shaman camp. And that's gonna have a longer lasting impact over this game. They're gonna clear bottom very quickly. And then they will have this camp pushing as well. So the timings here for Gen.G just a little bit crisper. However, with Modern Life here, clearing this isn't gonna be as easy as I just, you know, it's easier said than done.
Stun on to reset. This is going to be a kill. Nice flank from the side of Medivh.
Medivh making some big plays here, Gondar, on his first game of it. You know, and this mid push is being delayed. Test is going to have to Iron Skin away. I guess didn't have to, but would have liked to if things got worse.
Finally, with the kill, and the kill before, they're getting some macro control, but still they're losing lots of camp timings. What do they really have for the camps? That I think that's the real question. They don't have a Sonya, they don't have anything like a Rehgar, which will be actually buffed in the next patch. I expect to see a lot more Rehgar.
Well, I've said this of Gen.G ever since they were MVP Black for many years. They have an objective-based playstyle, but I don't mean that they're factually correct. I mean that they play around the objectives. They may be down on kills, they may be down on experience, but you very rarely see them, you know, in a game where they are ahead, lose objectives. And that almost never happens. So these are small victories for BlossoM that keep them at experience level that's basically the same.
Ooh, level 10.
Tiny window here for Gen.G to hit it. They're going for the invade, and BlossoM respects it. Sick respect here. Very well done by BlossoM to disc back out there in that few second window where they, you know, would have not had heroics. It is the BFG locked in, but Gen.G just waiting for this next objective to come up, this next shrine they're going to look to fight over. It is containment disc, by the way, which we saw once in mid-season brawl. I think it was actually Rich who played it, if I remember correctly. somebody at J-How called out on the desk. But
I think it is just to kind of cancel out that ley line from Medivh. You can actually buy more time.
Also BFG as well, you know, you just containment disc someone who's about to die from it, you basically divine shield them in that way. I mean, it's really quite interesting. Like, let's see how it pans out. It can be used similarly to Cocoon as well. It cannot be destroyed.
They do dive in with the portal, but can't find any target as they were already all the way in the back. That's unstoppable from the lightning breath.
There's the disc onto the lightning breath to shut it down.
Does continue right after, and they do have the bunker. So great position for BlossoM, but going a little bit too low.
So much healing coming out here. The silence is amazing, though. Look at the heals coming out from Alex Strasza. Fight's not over yet, but it's a trade. Rich wants to go back in. He's very low. They're going to have to get another heal here.
Just having the Dragon Queen pop in. About the same. Okono gets the protection from the Medivh. Rich has to escape from the fight.
Oh no, he's got that spell armor, but he's not going to last much longer here. They have to retreat away. Rich with no fear. Perhaps he should be a little bit more respectful of the Sergeant Hammer pick. All Gen.G wants is to finish this objective. That's all they want.
3 more.
And they're going to get him. They will take this. Iron Skin used. BlossoM does not want to stick around. They need to go down and get ready to defend this. Close call there for Gen.G.
Without Mary Day porting in with the Twilight Dream, they would have lost the team fight big time, but that bought them so much time to actually get into better position and to do damage. Focus onto Jaina.
Alright, I'm going to coin a term for this. I don't know if any of the other casters use it, but we can use it. Let's call that Azalea Twilight Dream for now on, since he did that at Mid-Season Brawl.
Azalea Twilight Dream?
When you portal out in Twilight Dream, let's call that Azalea Twilight. Let's do that. Let's give Azalea credit for that amazing play he had at Mid-Season Brawl.
Yes, Mary Day doing the same.
His fantastic Malfurion throughout the tournament. But yeah, I mean, 13's up now, just because they got another fort. BlossoM is finally, though, making progress. This draft is working for them overall. The containment just shuts down the lightning breath. But it's what happens after that. You know, that's the scary part, is when BlossoM was able to do that burst damage, everyone gets knocked away. When the Jaina dies, it's very difficult for Gen.G to fight, as we saw in that last engagement there.
I guess the idea, you can actually land on the disc onto Malfurion as he tries to come in with the portal.
Very difficult, but it is possible.
And it is Rich playing, but oh yeah, man, look at this.
Okay, he wants to just set up a gank here. He knows everyone's so far away that Hammer can't get out. It allows him to get the tether. They even commit the Water Elemental, which can help push this lane. Like, I mean, it's a Shaman camp, a Water Elemental, the end of this fort. Slow rotation up from BlossoM. They just didn't know where Gen.G was. They didn't expect the containment disc gank. So they get the kill. Grab the 3rd and final fort. And with less kills than BlossoM, they have been able to control this entire map through macro play and picks. Just the 2, but they're enough.
It is really hard for the Hammer. You do want to push and get some wave, but you are not really too far away from your own gate as well. It was just lack of understanding the rotation of the other side. Not respecting what they could actually do.
Lightning Breath here gives us slow, but the stun misses so
the
close.
ley line does close.
Okay, this is an opportunity. Bunkers
up.
They want to get through here. Sake very, very low.
But Kyocha destroys the backline and it'll take time.
Rich, still alive here. Sake cannot say the same. They will have to back off to get these caps. BFG misses. Close call there. That would have been the kill. I suppose he could have vaulted if he had it. I'm not sure if he did have that. Either way, you know, a near miss. The only thing standing between Gen.G and victory are these 3 keeps, and BlossoM protects this one, grabs a kill, evens up the experience, and with the 3 forts available for them now, sure, it will take them longer to catch up in terms of structures, but it means that they can close the gap in experience if they're able to win this next shrine. So that extra experience that's just being held in these keeps is really going to stack up, and when they have this hammer to push forward, get some of it unlocked if they just get this cannon tower. Need to be careful not to overextend. Here's another containment disc. They're going to engage.
They are diving into Sergeant Hammer. Will be caught with the tether.
Look at that positioning.
Though.
They put the heal there because they knew Rich was going to have to come back. That was so sick.
And even the oil from Rich, so flowing all of it down, making sure they have an exit with the bunker as well.
That was basically Sake saying, Rich, I know you want to fight, but remember, you don't actually have the Warden's Cage. You took Containment Disc. You need to come back. I put this heal right where you're going to be. Okay, Honkono's got the protection here. The Twilight Dream comes through. It's not enough. The ley line is up, but everyone's super low. Kyocha, slowed by the Lightning Breath. Heal reductions there. He barely lives through that BFG with the helps of the heals from Alex Strauss. Sake keeps him alive. Gondar's got the portal. He gets out, but Sake with the flank. He comes out of the dragon. Portal in. Not going to be enough to save him. Buys time, but that's going to be yet another Punisher. This time, the Arcade Punisher. Over the side of Gen.G, and it's going to walk straight to the bottom keep.
Alex Strauss are really showing the power in front of shrines every single time the shrine is up. Just pop that Dragon Queen, and then you make sure you are safe in the air, healing your allies, and also damaging the opponents as well. How can you even catch her? So, maybe the best support in the coming patches, you know, in this map.
Well, when you're going to be playing Containment Disc like this, I think you can really make the argument for the Alex Strauss over the Stukov. The Stukov synergy is hardly, only really anti-synergy for the portal more than anything else. Another disc committed to a hammer just basically removes a lot of her damage. Now they're going to collapse on it. She gets away, but she wasn't working on the Punisher shield. She wasn't burning everybody down. They're allowed to get into position during that disc timing. Very short cooldown, up in 35. This is going to easily be a keep. What happens next is up to BlossoM. They need to make sure that they defend this without losing anyone, or they will lose this series. Honkono is the target. Keep still up. Good bait here. Onto the Punisher.
Punisher still very strong. Lane line is available, but they need to get the Punisher down first.
Rich with the vault. He gets out. Kyocha wanted more.
BFG does not find the kill.
Dragon Queen.
And blowing up with no bunker. Was that even out? I think that was just used right before, but the burst damage actually broke through that.
Yeah, I said Dragon Queen, but of course it just been Alex Strauss' heroic. She flies into the sky, gives the heals, gives the sustain. Those are the 2 kills they needed. Gen.G gonna take the series 3-0. 2 textbook drafts after another, the 3rd draft with a twist at the end. The Containment Disc not predicted, not expected, but well used against the Sergeant Hammer. And Gen.G walks away with yet another victory. No games dropped. Smiles on the faces of the BlossoM team, but that's on camera. That's for the fans. When they walk out, I think it's going to be a different emotion. Meride embraces old friends. The first time he faces them ever in his career. But it won't be the last. It will just be the first of 2, minimum. He will have to face them again in part 2. But he gets the toughest one out of the way first.
Oh yes, and says, I will remember you. You killed me twice. And look at that Alex Strauss, 79k, and with 0 seconds on the game time. I mean, that's a lot of healing in 0 seconds.
Yeah. I think we were really at what, like 14, 15 minutes in. But 2 swift series. Close it out. Gondar's Medivh was pretty solid. Meride's play overall was good, especially honestly his Uther was the most impressive. It was a bad pick, but given what he had to work with, I thought his Uther was very impressive. It just was, I think drafting was the issue, and you know, I know you were hinting and we were making jokes about Honkono's struggles in past times and role swaps that have occurred around him, and the struggles of the teams he goes to since Tempest 2016. I can't, from this one series alone, I can't blame him at all. Like, he didn't have a bad game of the 3. It's just that the drafts made it difficult for anyone to have a standout game. And Gen.G, mechanically the best team in the world, defending world champions again 3-time, blah, blah, blah. But when you give them great heroes to work with, and you're working with, you know, basically par or subpar meta heroes that don't have synergy together, you're going to have a hard time. And that they did. I
don't think Gen.G is even contestable right now against any teams in Korea, and that's how they're just on another level of gaming. They just make all the macro right. They make all the correct drafting decisions with their coach as well, who's not even here today. Noblest was sick, so he was actually not even here. It was the players doing all the draft, but they had so many game experiences. They can actually get all the team fights and all the drafting right for themselves.
And they did it with two adjustments, I guess you could say, to the drafts in Game 2 and 3. The Chromie with the solo laner Tassadar, which is something that you kind of have to think of on the fly without a coach there to help you draft through that one. And then the Alexstrasza flex pick and the 5th pick there, which was much less common for the Korea region, as mentioned, than it was for North America and China. But finally starting to see some play for Korea here. Alexstrasza, 100% win rate so far today. So, yeah.
I think it's really worth it and really worth to watch, and them trying some new things, which was always going to come. And in Inferno Shrine, we did see lots of the European and also NA teams using it. So I think it could be a trending pick just on this battleground. I think it could just continue. Maybe as Sky Temple as well sometimes. So Alexstrasza really coming up highly. And we were expecting some crazy matches, maybe like 3-1, 3-2, that could just go all the way to full set. But very one-sided is even match number 2 even more compared to match number 1.
I did not expect BlossoM to take a map, I'll be honest, but I also expected Feliz to have a close series and win in the first series, right? And Supernova was able to blow out of the gates. For those who missed the first series, do go back and watch. We have a new exciting team here in HGC Korea. They look strong. They are rookies, but they have the only non-rookie on the squad is a veteran, No Chat, who took a season off, played through Open Division, was the Observer, has come back. Here are our wins for Gen.G, BOE, standard draft, Volskaya, with the triple DPS in a way. The Tastar, obviously not really a DPS, but it was solo laner, I should say, where they had to flex Kocha onto that. And then Infernal Shrines was the Alexstrasza draft. The Sergeant Hammer flavor that BlossoM showed us, which was in the past by them, played by Dudu, is, you know, it has not found success, but at least I think by the end of the series we started to understand why they were trying to use it. It just simply wasn't enough.
I think, let's see if Gen.G actually drops a single map in this game. I think unless we have something crazy like we had in phase 1, like suddenly Medivh appears with Sonya and Diablo, they were caught once, but unless that sudden big meta shift happens in this phase number 2, and I think because they will be even stronger with 3 bands, because they have a hero ocean for themselves. They have a lot more heroes. Worse teams will be a little worse, I think. Strong teams will be stronger because of the hero pool problem, basically, with all 2 more bands coming in. Unless we have some crazy meta shift, I think they will just continue to have 3-0 streaks. That is totally possible until BlizzCon.
Yeah, I want to say Tempest is the team to challenge them.
The only one, sure. I think so.
Like the thing is, Ballistics is in a shaken point. We're going to see them tomorrow. So Ballistics is already kind of like, who knows where they're going to end up in this season. Tempest was already destroyed by Dignitas in Midseason Brawl. Didn't show the greatest games. They had a decent group stage, but it was not Tempest's finest hour. And then BlossoM was the only team we had question marks about, right? Where we're like, maybe BlossoM could look good against Gen.G, but unfortunately they didn't have time to develop. They faced Gen.G in their opening match. So, yeah, I mean, Gen.G, we do live in a world where it's possible they go undefeated. Let's not, count our chickens before they're hatched, but you can just see the synergy here. Reset is, in my opinion, MVP. I mean, he played God tier today on every hero he played. The Chromie, I think, was the most impressive, but some of the false stat synergy we saw here in Game 1 into the 7-sided was absolutely phenomenal. Going into Game 2, playing the Chromie, finding those hits. But the guy is he's purely everything you want as what, we call in Korea your sub-dealer. He is the best one. He's not playing the main carry DPS, but he can play these mage heroes to a T. Whatever hero Rich is not playing in the double DPS meta, he's going to absolutely crush with. No matter what it is, even if he has to be on the task line. Then, of course, in this final game, we saw some really clutch moments for BlossoM. And in the longer sustained fights, they had a lot of good ones. Kocha barely staying alive here.
Because Layla actually grabbed onto 3 members of the Gen.G, and that was their moment to burst out the front. The tank line, but there was not enough damage BFG, not even catching the kill.
Yeah, Sokka had 2 great moments there, the save there, and then of course the teleport for the flank. Sake will be our player to be interviewed, so Jacob's gonna translate that for you guys.
네, 우선 빼먹을 수 없는 질문이 있는데요.
And
미드 시즌
you have to ask
남은
this question.
한번 들어볼게요.
Yeah, let's hear what you have to say after winning the mid-season brawl.
우승하지 못한 유일한 대회.
That was the only tournament we did not win.
이번에 우승해서 너무 기쁘고
And becoming the champion, of course, really happy.
너무 잘해가지고
Dignitas was really good.
했잖아요.
And against them, we won.
세트를 하고
It was full set.
더 우승이 더 빛났던 것 같아요.
And I think that's why we could shine a little more.
이제 신사처럼 딱 기다려줬다가 저희를 포옹도 해주고 정말.
And they were really being a gentleman. They waited until our moment and then they hugged us right after. Good friends.
저희가 운이 좋았어요.
So Dignitas was good, but you're better.
네,
I think we got a little lucky as
경기
well.
보면서 되게 궁금했던 점인데요. 오늘 그 노블레스 코치가 못 나왔어요.
And Noblesse was actually not here.
짜주시잖아요, 그렇죠?
And he's the one drafting for you
오늘
guys.
그래서 제가 그 보통 카라짐을 이제 원힐러로 잘 쓰지 않는데 그
Usually,
조합으로
Karazim does not really come as much as a solo support. But do you think Noblesse would have made another choice?
병원에 있는데.
He's actually in the hospital.
경기마다 조금 이게 쉬는 타이밍이 있잖아요. 그때
And we do have some time during the
뭐 해라.
in between the games.
상대 요거 하면은
And he would just message us.
먹어라. 그러면
And in case
저희는 그냥
so
그대로.
he did prepare some situational picks for us, and we would just follow that.
조종을 했던 거군요.
So he was
the
like
good old text message coach.
So he was like the avatar, and he had the symbiote on top of them.
한 팬페이기 한 반쯤 먹고 들어가고 나머지는 저희가
I think
잘하면은
the drafting we actually took a half lead into the game already, and we just had to make that work within the game individual games.
아까 오성균 캐스터님이 한조 추천받고 되게 티어가 내려갔다는 얘기를 했었어요.
And Sake, you recommended Hanzo to Katsuro, and he actually dropped 3 tiers after that.
추천을 하시는 건지. 되게 개인적인 질문이에요.
솔직히 좋거든요.
네.
Honestly, they're really good.
거는 본인을 탓해야 되지 않나.
I think it's your fault for actually dropping in here
네,
early.
다음 질문
That's
가도록 하겠습니다.
basically your fault.
보통 1힐러로 잘 안 쓰는 캐릭터들을 많이 하시는 것 같아요. 오늘도 전부 거의 뭐 카라짐, 알렉스트라자 이렇게
You were using
하셨잖아요.
Karazim and
그 이유가
Alexstrasza.
혹시
Were there any
고집하시는
reasons?
이유가 있으신 건지.
제가 딱히 고집한 건 아니고 제가
What was it?
카라짐을 잘하는 것도 있고.
I do play really good Karazim.
그 코치가 하랬어요.
And also Noblesse just told me to play.
괜찮으면 하라고 그래가지고 했는데 알렉스트라자 막픽으로 나왔어요. 근데
네.
각 보니까 괜찮은 것 같아가지고 애들한테 해도 되고
Alexstrasza
그러니까 하라고
5th pick,
한 것 같아요.
and I think
약간
I
순종적인
had a good sense
스타일인가요?
in that
시키면
position.
하는 타입.
괜찮은데요. 네,
And so,
다음
I just chose
질문
it.
가도록 하겠습니다. 다음 상대가 슈퍼노바예요. 지금
Next up,
현재
you're going
공동
against
1위
Supernova.
팀이죠. 혹시 그 다음 이제 경기 임하는 각오를
And let's hear
말씀하신다면
what you have to say going against them.
저 개인적으로는 한국에서 지고 싶지 않아요. 만약에 저희가
Personally, I do not want to lose
세트로 질 수는 있는데
any game in
패배를
Korea.
한다면은
It is possible to drop
지고 싶지
maybe a few,
국내에서는 딱히 지고 싶은 생각 없어요.
and we plan on not
알겠습니다.
losing any
네,
match
그러면 오늘 여기서
for sure
인터뷰
in Korea.
마무리하고 중계진으로 이제 넘어가나요?
Okay, we're going back to us. As I just like I didn't know how to handle how she threw that. She was like, so I think we're going back to the casters, and then it was like, then actually went to the standings.
And Supernova tied with Gen.G.
Oh my god, this clearly means they're the same as the defending world champions.
They're so good.
Supernova takes the 3-0 win over Feliz. That was the really exciting story of today. There were a lot of cool storyline things with Merity facing off against his old team, but Supernova is a great team. They've proven it. How great they are, how they stack up against teams like Ballistics, Gen.G, and Tempest, and then on a more medium level, teams like Gluck and Miracle, we have yet to see. But what we can say, I think, with confidence is this is the best team who's ever come out of Open Division to Korea in their first season. They look fantastic. They look to be a squad to be reckoned with. Oh, are they perfect? No. Oh, they showed some really cool flavor, some really cool drafting.
Even better than BlossoM, I think, in terms of drafting. I don't know how they're going to when they smash. I don't know the result, what it's going to be, but just from drafting, how they were actually in meta, and they were in fit with the battlegrounds they actually picked multiple times. Supernova was dominating just in drafting compared to BlossoM, what they were trying to do today.
Oh, I mean, their drafts had high synergy. They had really macro-based, global-based play set up on each battleground. Their picks were less meta, but they made them work. Here are our matches tomorrow. G-Clef will not be here.
For the first time,
ever since 2017,
HGC started.
So I will be casting this tomorrow with Rapid casting. We'll be casting Ballistics versus the return of Miracle, and then Gluck will face off against Tempest in the second match. So on paper, it could be two one-sided matches, but the thing we have to remember is, of course, Relic is off of Gluck, so there's a hole that has to be filled there that we've already spoken about a little bit. We'll talk more about tomorrow. And then Miracle, you know, everyone is saying that in scrims they look to be the scariest team right now with their new roster. I've heard it before, but I'm excited just to see how it pans out. And Ballistics is also, you know, not in the best spot right now.
But you know what happened to BlossoM tonight, as we were having, and not just us, I'm pretty sure lots of the viewers as well, as a return of Meriday and Onkono. Maybe they're really good. They do look really good on paper. I mean, they could be maybe the new top 3. I was expecting much more of what they have shown today. Maybe it could come into the later games. They were up against Gen.G, the strongest team in the world, so maybe that was a problem, but seems like that they were really struggling with the draft. Maybe that will be the same story tonight. Maybe it could be totally different, and we just might have Miracle just dominating over a stronger team.
It's certainly possible. Only time will tell, but yeah, a lot of new things. It's a new season. We have a new global champion, but BlizzCon is the final boss, right?
Yes.
And we're all headed towards that. That's the one that you want to win. Gen.G wants to defend their title. New Korean teams want to represent the world, or represent Korea to the world at an international stage. That's what this is all about. So it's going to be a very exciting tournament. We'll get the 4 bands. Sorry, I keep saying 4 bands. 3 bands.
4 bands.
6 bands total. We have 4 now. 6 bands total. 3 for 3 bands coming up. Eventually throughout this tournament as well. We'll update you guys when that's officially going to be released. And the meta will develop, right? Urel, one of those heroes. You know, every now and then you get a hero that comes out who's not just instantly first band.
Hey, Urel, are you there?
But yeah, it's going to be a good journey, G-Clef. Well, that's going to do it for us for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. G-Clef will see you guys on Sunday. So have a great night and enjoy EU NNA.